Mic check. Hey now. Ooh, I love this microphone. Hello. Mic check, 1, 2. I realized the sun was going down. You see, I got better headphones, so I hope my sound quality is good on this one. But I saw the sun was going down. I'm recording this from my van. If you're watching on wherever you're watching, you can see. Got no filter on the background right now. This is literally how I'm living in the van. Welcome back to the Chandie Speaks podcast. We're just going to jump right into it because the sun's, like I said, the sun's going down. Damn, my sound quality sounds really good. I don't even need to speak that loud. I can just whisper. Into the mic. Sounds really good. I'm really happy that I got new headphones. Still trying to get it adjusted here. I don't know if you can't really see it right now, but eventually, like, I do plan to convert this van into, like, you know, partially my living space, my bed and area, and then partially like a podcast studio, so that, like, when I'm on the road and I see or I connect with people who I feel would blend well and vibe well with my channel and what I'm about here. I'm not really about anything right now. I literally just talk about nothing. Thank you all for coming back. Welcome back. So last week, yeah, I think that would just be a good idea, to just have a podcast studio in my van, a mobile podcast studio. But last week, Jesus, I think I need to adjust these sounds because I sound like I'm too loud. Am I too loud? I'm still trying to get used to it. So the cool thing about this microphone is, like, a couple days ago, I've only had it for, like, you know, 2 podcast sessions right now. This is the 3rd podcast with the good microphone. And yeah, the last week I recorded some songs with it, and it sounds really, like, good. It sounds really good. I'm really grateful. I'm really happy that I was able to invest in myself and my music and my hobbies, my extracurricular activities, and record some music. And I sound I still need to learn how to master it. I'm not really big on, I'm like a music producer, but I don't know how to, like, make it sound like it's mastered, you know, like on the radio. So it still kind of sounds like it's someone that's recording a song in their van, but, like, with a really good microphone, you know, so we're getting there. Last week I had a guest star, my first guest star on the show. Long time, relatively long time, I guess, for what I'm doing here. Friend Brandon, who came on, and we talked about a whole bunch of stuff. I don't know if you guys caught that episode. Very good conversationalist. I really enjoyed talking with him. I like talking with people. I've been trying to find more people to talk to, sort of like that, where we can just, like, bounce from topic to topic and we can just dive right in. I don't even think that we really even dived right in on that last podcast. If I can admit, I was kind of like, I was drinking in that last podcast episode, and I'm kind of embarrassed. I'm very unprofessional of me, and, like, I played it back multiple times, and I saw that I was, like, you know, just not really being in my eyes, you know, I'm really hard on myself, so I saw myself as not really being constructive to the conversation. I was interrupting him a lot. I was listening to respond and not listening to sort of understand where he was coming from. He made a lot of good points that I didn't even catch until after the fact, after I sobered up and played it back. But in the moment, I remember I was just trying to hear myself talk, and I noticed that I tend to do that sometimes. It's like a nervous tick. You know, I'm not even really much of a talker, but when I'm in this kind of, you know, setup where it's like, it's my podcast show, hey, come on, you know, and talk with me. It's like, I don't know, I felt like, in hindsight, it felt like I was like, I don't know, my ego was just all in that last podcast episode. And, you know, I'm not upset about it. You know, it's just a learning curve for everyone. And it was our first time. Comfortability was a big thing with us as well. So, you know, next time, if we have another recording session later, I'll keep that in mind. I'll, number one, for sure, not drink again. And, you know, just keep that in mind. Like, hey, yeah, he's coming on your show, or they're coming on your show, but you don't have to, like, talk over them, and maybe, like, listen to them next time. I don't know. We do that as people. We tend to just listen to people. My ego, me personally, I saw it a lot in that last episode. I'm grateful that I still have the connection with the guy and we can still have, conversations like that in the future where I'm more clear headed and mindful. But yeah, I took some notes. Let me see what I wrote for this week. Yeah. So it's Tuesday night. The sun's going down. The light is coming from my battery, my portable battery. It's also charging my laptop. So like I said, I'm running on E on in every direction right now. Like, except my gas tank. I got a full tank of gas. Let me see what I wrote down for my notes, because I know I wrote down notes about it. Yeah, that was basically it. Just listening to respond and not understand is something that I've noticed, that my ego sort of like tries to take the driver's seat whenever I get into good conversations like that are being documented for some reason. I don't know. It's like, yeah, trying to prove something. I don't know. He's a good guy, good conversationalist. I'm really happy that he came on the show. I've been really looking for other people to come on and talk with, but it's kind of hard for me because I just work all the time. So the only people that I come into contact with are like people who come into my job or people who I encounter like on my walks with my dog out in the wild. And it's not really many who like click with me enough to where I want to invite them into my home and sit with them for an hour and hear their thoughts on life. So that was it. Today is the last day of September. This microphone sounds ridiculously good. I don't know how the levels sound. I'll hear it back. Where are we right now? We're only 7 minutes in. This may not be a good one. I don't know if I'll get into a good rant. Good rant with it. Yeah, so I'm really grateful that I got to record with just someone else. It's nice to not just hear myself sometimes, although it's very therapeutic for me. I like doing this. I like checking in with myself. It did kind of feel like, I took a break on checking in with myself and attempted to check in with other people or the world. And I think I failed. Not miserably, but I didn't succeed in the ways that I wanted to succeed because I know that I wasn't fully present and I was under the influence. So that's that. Today is October. No, it's not. Today's the last day of September. It's Tuesday night, September 30th, and this will be uploaded on Wednesday. Oh my God, this microphone is crazy. Y'all, what big happened this week? Anything big happened this week? Like noteworthy or newsworthy? I'm not quite sure. It's the first day of October tomorrow. Autumn. We had the autumn equinox this past week. Boring. September has always been like a fun month for me because it always just like synced up and lined up with my with a lot of anniversaries that I have. So like September, today's the 30th, the last day. So September 16th through the 22nd is my Jamaica versary, is like the anniversary of me going to Jamaica, which was the first time that I went out of the country by myself, which is kind of a big deal for me. So yes, it's also my dreadiversary the same week, like September 17th, 2017. Is when I started my my lock journey, as the kids are calling it now. I like calling it dreads. But yeah, 8 years now. You can't see it, but your girl got locks, okay? I started, my hair was like little worms in my hair. Like, there was an awkward phase that lasted like 2 years, and it was just like little worms just barely trying to just like wiggle their way out. But once they started falling, it just started coming down, and I'm like, I look back and I was looking at pictures today like, dang, yeah, 8 years strong in my lock journey. That's September for me right now. We're on the last day of September, and I just thought I acknowledged that. There's like, I think it's weird how like there's memories in your hair. I have memories, like literally I started this journey when I was engaged. I done went through so many versions of myself. I'm not gonna cut it. I might cut it one day. I'm not gonna cut it. I really like, my dream is to have it sweep the floor. I wanted to have it long enough to sweep the floor. Right now, it's barely going past my titties. Um, well, it's almost at my belly button, actually. The longest one is almost at my belly button. Um, Homegrown, you know what I'm saying? I didn't think my hair could grow. As a melanated person, I'm sure you all, who, if you're melanated and you're a woman, you know the struggle. We don't actually know if our hair can grow until we stop fucking with it so much. We stop putting all this, like chemicals and heat processing shit, dyes in our hair. If you just leave it alone for a little bit, you actually, like, our hair actually grows. It grows pretty fucking rapidly. Like, it started growing within like the last 4 years. I saw the biggest amount of growth. Um, because the weight of the dreads like just causes it to just grow faster because you're just leaving it the fuck alone. Imagine that. Imagine that. I always wanted dreads. I'm happy they're past their awkward phase right now and they look cute. Every time I go out of the country or I go somewhere new, mostly out of the country, when people will be like, hey, Rasta. I've talked about this before, I know I have. But it just kind of warms my heart a little bit because people will yell out to me like, hey, Rasta girl. And I'm like, no, I'm American. But thank you. So yeah, that's fun. Had my Jamaica anniversary this past couple weeks. September 16th. Had my dread anniversary on September 17th. Also had my van life anniversary. Let's give a round of applause to that. If I had one of those little sound effect machines, this is where I would play that. Hold on. But I'm not that fancy yet. But yeah, van life anniversary, September 23rd, September 25th. It was like 3 days after I got divorced when I officially moved into my van and lived out of it full time with 2 dogs at the time. And I was looking through like my memories of that. Like, it's only been like, what, 4 years, right? 2021? Van life anniversary this time around. So yeah, and most of you who follow me on YouTube, who've been subscribed for a long time, you know this story already. But for all the new people who don't know, like, this is actually like my second go around really with it. My 4th van. The first time, long story completely short, I was with an ex and we lived out of a Pontiac Aztec with my German Shepherd, and then we lost that van. I think it broke down or something, and then we were backyard camping. This is like my van life journey in a nutshell right now. Hey, I got time. Whatever. We're only at 13 minutes. Fuck it. It's an interesting story if you haven't heard it before. So we decided to sell all of our stuff and move into this Pontiac Aztec in Denver, Colorado. We had our German Shepherd. She was like, I don't know, a few years old, like 2 or 3 at the time. And we lived out of this Aztec. We decided to drive like out east, and on the way like out east or on the way back or something like that, it broke down. Either way, we had to get rid of the van and we were just like backyard camping. My ex had a coworker friend who let us sleep in his backyard. Not bullshitting. It was actually some of the best months of my life, despite all the complications with the relationship itself. But yeah, it taught me a lot about nomad living. So yeah, we would cook our meals off of like a little propane stove, and we had a tent that we pitched up in the back. Sometimes they'd let us shower in their house, but most of the times we would like travel out to like truck stops to shower. It was like a pre-nomadic lifestyle, like test run, I would say. Then we found a van. We finally got into our first van, and we didn't have any papers for it. That's a whole different situation. Like, I think we just got the van because we were just so excited to not live in someone's backyard and depend on someone else, that we just took this van without signing any paperwork, without getting the title or like anything. And we drove it for like a few months. But then eventually it started catching up with us. Well, we ended up breaking up. So that was our first van. My official first van by myself, I got in the midst of our breakup. Because, I had already sold all my stuff. I was already living that lifestyle for a few months. I'm going to get my own van. Got my van. I forgot what kind it was. But we ended up getting back together, me and that ex. And somehow we thought, I don't know, he either convinced me or we thought it was a great idea where he's like, let's just go to Cali. So he convinced us to like sell the vans. We had two vans. He had the van that didn't have any papers, and I had my van, which was my first official van. And then we sold those vans, sold more stuff of our that we had, gave away one of our dogs. I remember during like it was like around Christmas time, I believe. I was walking down an alley in like Englewood, Colorado, right behind the Good Times. If you know, you know. I found this little like Shih Tzu terrier, matted down, homeless little fucking dog, and he was just begging for me to take him home. So I did. You know, I got him groomed up and I got him his shots, and now I'm living in a van with this big ass German Shepherd and this little, we called him Poncho. Bless his heart. I don't know if he's still alive or not, but we ended up giving him away before we went to California. We took an Amtrak, I believe. It was either an Amtrak or a Greyhound. I think it was an Amtrak. We took that all the way from Colorado to California. We lived in tents in Los Angeles on Skid Row. Yes, that's a real place. I'm not bullshitting you. No, I personally was not on any hard drugs. I smoked weed, you know, drank a little bit, had a little nicotine addiction at the time, but that's about it. And everyone thought I was weird. I don't know. I've already talked about my Skid Row experience, but that led to us breaking up for the final time for other reasons. And then I migrated back to Colorado on the Greyhound with my German Shepherd alone. You know, got married, got the 1991 Ford Econoline, Luna the van. This is what you guys mostly know about. Got divorced. About a year and a half later, I started the Van Life Diaries series on YouTube. The rest is history. Yeah. So that was the Luna the van, the 1991. That was technically my third van, but my second van that I had on my own. So this van that I'm in right now, my 2014 Ram Promaster, this is my third van. I'm leasing it, my first van that I'm leasing. And my vaniversary started basically a few days, like 3 days after I got divorced in 2021 in Colorado. The rest is history. Y'all follow the journey on Van Life Diaries if you give a fuck. But a lot has happened. I'm not even, I don't even know who that little girl was. You know, I have sympathy for her and I love her, but I've been so many versions of myself since I started this entire journey way back in, sheesh, I would say it was 2016. It was the same year that my dad died. Was when I first just decided to just sell all my stuff and just live a minimalistic lifestyle. And the funny thing is, and I know I've talked about this, the funny thing is the ex that talked me into it at the time, he actually like lives in a whole house now, like an apartment. And I think last time I checked, not trying to throw him under the bus or throw a shade or anything, whatever, but you know, he's actually like depending on someone else, last I checked, financially, to live in their home. And I just think it's so silly how, you know, he taught me like, you know, just, I don't know, I could get sappy. Yeah, I'm not going to call it sappy. Yeah, he taught me so much about this lifestyle, and I just thought it was just crazy how he wasn't even cut out for it himself, really. Because I think at one point he actually had his own place, and then he couldn't hack it, and instead of going back to this lifestyle, he like financially is dependent upon someone else. Bless his heart. But yeah, I guess the brainwashing worked on me because I'm still in it. This is like the best lifestyle change I ever, one of them, one of the best lifestyle changes I've ever had. Some of the best years of my life have been within the four walls of a metal box on wheels, and I'm so grateful. Okay, what else we got going on? That was a nice little rant right there. Speaking of Skid Row, I did see this person. I'm going to give a shout out to this content creator. I don't know if it's the right one, but it's at least on one of, I think it was on Instagram. He's called Neat Martinez. Shout out to Neat Martinez. He's a street barber on Skid Row. Speak of Skid Row. And I just thought it was so interesting. I came across him in my, I don't know what they call it, the For You or my feed. I came across it on one of these feeds on the social medias, and I just thought it was just beautiful that he's going around in one of the hardest places to be as an addict, as recovering addict, Skid Row, Los Angeles, California. If you know, you know. And he's going around and he's just offering haircuts and bathing these people. He's washing. The comments that I saw a lot on his videos were washing bodies like Jesus. I never read the Bible, but I guess they're referring to like when Jesus washed feet. I just thought it was just so beautiful. I watched like 2 of this guy's videos on Instagram or wherever, and I cried. I literally teared up because it was just kind of a beautiful Skid. If any place in America needs it right now, at least from back when I was there, it was Skid Row. So bless his heart, bless his channel. Neat Martinez, go check him out. He's a street barber for Skid Row, washing bodies like Jesus. Look at me sounding like a content creator. He ain't paying me to say that either. I'm literally just giving him clout just because I feel like he deserves it. I was in that position where I had to, where I only got to take 2 showers a week. I had to travel all the way by train to Santa Monica to go take like a decent shower. They have homeless shelters all scattered around Los Angeles, around the Skid Row area, but they kind of require you to be a part of some kind of clique culture type of deal. Also, some of them are really religious. Like you'll go in and you have to listen to like a sermon. You have to go through this whole song and dance just so that you can take a shower, and it's like semi-private, you know. So I'm also going to give a shout out to this. This is mostly for the homeless community in California. I'm going to give a shout out to god damn it, I want to say it's the OPCC. Now I have to look it up. It's in Santa Monica. Let me just pause this for a second because I definitely want to give them a shout out. Okay, I found it. Ooh, microphone, hello. I'm going to give a shout out to the OPCC in Santa Monica, California. They're a social services organization. They are open 24 hours. Some of my best showers that I've ever taken as a homeless person have been at this place. So here's the deal with OPCC. Obviously, if you're not a homeless or a nomad person living in California, this doesn't matter to you. But I just like giving them a shout out because they've helped me in times when I really needed a place where I can get services. You have to go there. I forgot what days of the week. If I'm not mistaken, it was like the weekend days or something like that, or certain days of the week. And you have to go as early as you possibly can. They're open 24 hours, but their showers are only open for a certain period of time. So if you go there and there is a line and you wait. I've waited hours for a shower, but I also when I get in there, I get a shower, I get razors to shave, I get shampoo, soap, towels. They give you clothing. They give you a free hot meal right there. You can get a barber, haircut, the whole 9. Everything you fucking need, one-stop shop. You just gotta wait in that line for an hour. Only thing I've ever used it for was for the shower, for hygiene-wise, and for getting the hot meal. And it's always worth the wait for me. One time I was waiting in line, I actually someone walked past me who wasn't waiting in line and was like, "Hey, you look like the type of person who would like this." And he gave me a yellow t-shirt and it had Pikachu on it. And it turned out, yeah, I did like that Pikachu t-shirt, and I still have that Pikachu t-shirt. And every time I look at it, I think about how I got it. It was because I was waiting in line at OPCC in Santa Monica, California for a shower, and I put that shirt on right afterward. Felt like a baller. You know, many times when I was sitting in California, in Skid Row or in Santa Monica, people would just come up and just give me clothing. So yeah, give a shout out to them. I also want to give a shout out to one last shout out as far as the homeless community is concerned. I believe it's called the Hippie Kitchen. Let me look it up. I believe it's called the Hippie Kitchen. Yeah, the Hippie Kitchen. It's a soup kitchen in Los Angeles, California. They're open 9:30 a.m. To 12 p.m. like Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, every other day, and they give free meals. You just go, same type of deal. You just wait in line and you get a free meal. You can get unlimited plates of food, and I'm pretty sure you can like shower there as well. I never showered there, but I want to give a shout out to them because there have been multiple times when I've been hungry and just poor and didn't have enough money, and they're right there. I don't even think, no, they're not even in Santa Monica. They're actually in Los Angeles. They're like right around the corner. They're like the one of the last lights in Skid Row, I believe. The Hippie Kitchen, Los Angeles. Yeah. So yeah. Shout out to them, and shout out to Neat Martinez, who's giving out baths and haircuts to the homeless people. Okay, I think I don't really have much to talk about this week. Got my Jamaica versary. Could talk about Jamaica for a little bit. Jamaica, okay, I didn't spend enough time in Jamaica, I think. I spent, on paper, I spent 5.5 days in Jamaica, and it wasn't enough time. I'm actually still shocked at how much I did within that little period of time with the little amount of money that I had when I went out there. Because, like, yeah, had I had a little bit more money and was given a little bit more time, Jamaica could have gone down, and like Jamaica's still in the books for me, but mostly I feel like it's like a longing. Like I just want to go back. I feel like I didn't get enough. I got just enough for what I was able to afford for 5.5 days. But yeah, I'm still longing for more. Let me see if a big highlight in Jamaica. I have a friend who I've asked to come on this show before. I'm not going to say her name, but she actually went with me out to Jamaica. It was a trip that I booked originally by myself. I booked the flight without any plans for anyone else going with me. I was just going to go. And then I asked my friend out here in Arizona to go with me, who may come on the show and we can talk about our Jamaica adventures. But yeah, and then so she went out with me. I also asked an ex to go out with me. Yeah, I would really love for her to come on so we can talk shit about him, because he kind of did us dirty on that trip. I'd say that was probably the biggest highlight, was that as a woman, I went out there to Jamaica, and I invited my ex, who was a man, with the intention, like, with the expectation that maybe he would be some kind of protective energy, and he was actually the opposite of that. This is the same ex. Coincidentally, not coincidentally, this is the same ex who talked me into van life, but then talked himself out of it. Yeah, definitely not someone you would want to go to provide a protective energy, because, yeah. We almost got killed a few times. I'm going to just leave it at that. Jamaica was crazy. It was fun. But it could have been better. Much better. Oh, okay. I'm already halfway over this fucking podcast. I really am, you guys. Thanks for hanging in there with me. I'm really excited about these microphones. I don't even know what I wrote that. I took notes, but I don't even know what, like, sometimes I don't even know. I don't have context on my notes, so I don't really know what the hell I meant by that. Vibing at different frequencies. Okay. Do we want to get into story time? I think we can get into story time, but I really don't want to, like, okay. Here's the thing, like, I'm presently in Arizona, and story time involves people who also live in Arizona, who I won't name, and they may or may not even listen to this channel, but it's just, like, kind of weird, because this is sort of like venting in a way. About them, but it's also sort of, it's relative to, like, I feel like it's like a general venting, like it could apply to multiple things, multiple situations. Do I want to put that out? Okay, I guess as vague and generally as I can, and without giving specific details. I've just noticed since my last podcast that I'm coming across more and more NPCs. That was a discussion on our last episode, and he said something about activating NPCs, and how we were just like, we can just, like, you know, activate him and play with him, throw him back, whatever, teach him something. But I've been noticing this past week that I've been, like, sort of accidentally activating these NPCs around me. what did I write in my notes? And getting caught up in their bullshit. Yeah, I feel like I have like too much sympathy, and it doesn't. I don't know how to explain it without sounding like I have like a selfish like demeanor, because I'm really not. I'm not a selfish person. I'm compassionate and empathetic and all that jazz. But I feel like sometimes when at least in this last week, I've noticed that people have been kind of latching onto it in a way and sort of opening me up to sort of care. Like I'm activating them to like feel comfortable around me, and then they're latching back on and like luring me into their bullshit. Like all of it, like who they are as a person. You know, like, hold on, I'm not this person, and now I'm feeling like now I'm sort of bleeding into this person in my own life, in my own reflection, because I've just sort of allowed their energy to just. I don't know how to explain that without sounding like all hippy dippy woo woo. Does that sound right? I'm just getting caught up in these NPCs as bullshit. I'm trying to not give a specific example. Obviously, most of it's coming from my work environment. That's really all I do. Is I work, I walk with my dog, and I do this. I sit in my van. Occasionally, I'll sit at a bar and I'll have like, you know, a playful conversation. Maybe I'll go to a store or to do this or do that. But this is mostly what, like, most of my socializing happens at work. So yeah. So maybe it's just like a work program. Maybe it's just the programming of work. Like, you know, another thing that I've also noticed that, like, if you guys go back like a few episodes when I first got here to Sedona, I said that I'm chasing my shadows. I'm shadow chasing. There's something that I have to address within myself that I wasn't sure what it is yet. I'm starting to casually grasp what that could possibly be, or a part of what that could possibly be. And I think it has something to do with, get this, my relationships with the divine feminine, with feminine in general. Maybe if we go down to the root, let's just call it mom. Okay? Let's just call it my relationship with mom. And maybe that is what is affecting my relationships with these female NPCs that are just bleeding their bullshit into my fucking life. I'm like, there's something that I need to address here. Like, it's so triggering. Women, okay, I said it. Exhale. I fucking said it. Women are just so fucking triggering to me lately, and I don't know, and I know that it has something to do with whatever relationship that I have with my most divine feminine in my life personally, which is my mom, the mom. And that's a conversation for another time. But yeah, I'm like, could this be a part of my shadow work? Did I take notes on this? I totally did. Dealing with cunty women must be a part of my shadow work that I've been avoiding. Yeah, I typically avoid cunty women. And like, I'm not saying any names. Obviously no one knows where I work. Unless you know me, you know. But I'm noticing a pattern that it's not just the women that I work with. It's generally the women in my life, whoever I come in contact with. There's like a very small, microscopic like group of type of women who I just like click with immediately. Who I just like, they can do no wrong. Like, I'm here to learn. I love you, you know. But like most of the time, and I'm noticing a pattern within myself that's obviously stemming from some childhood trauma with my own mother. Most of the time, I'm coming into contact with these cunty fucking women, and all they fucking do is project, and they're narcissistic, and they are completely unaware of themselves, and I gotta be like dealing with it all. So yeah, that's part of my shadow work. Women, crazy, because I always preach this whole like woman power, girl power and shit. Really, that's kind of bullshit. It's kind of fucking bullshit if I can't even like stand to be in a room, the same room with most type of women. Okay. Most type of women. And I sound like super judgmental, but whatever. I'm just getting it off my chest. I'll give you another situation kind of where I'm not friends. I'm going to say that I'm having to be in a situation, a professional, platonic really a situation with another woman. I have to. And this woman is like always drunk. I'm learning, I'm adapting actually, like, you have like a 2-shot minimum. Like this particular woman has like 2 shots before I'm like, okay, it's enough. It's enough for me. I'm a head out. you know, and I don't really care if you drink. You drink. That's not the deal. The deal is really how you treat people when you're sober or when you're drunk, whenever. And if you're sober and you are nice, women tend to do this more than men. But when they get drunk and then they're all of a sudden like a whole different person and they're a bitch, they say alcohol is supposed to bring out your true version, your true self. And I'm like, I feel like I don't even know this person. And this is any woman who just like switches from night and day with just a couple fucking shots. And now you went from being like their best friend and sis and all this shit to like, fuck you and all this other shit. And I have to be the one to be like, oh, you're drunk. Okay, it's okay. And women, I rarely have to go through that with a man. Usually if a man's a dick sober, he's gonna be a dick drunk. I don't like hanging out with drunk people. I do. Okay, I'm gonna take that back. I don't like hanging out with people who don't know how to handle themselves when they drink. That's the better way. Like, if you have 2 shots and you turn into a bitch, then maybe 1 shot is your limit. Maybe have some self-awareness and some self-control on that. Not judging, but I'm not gonna stick around and watch you be a fucking cunt. I'm not gonna absorb all that. So, it's a part of my shadow work. I'm learning that it's part of my shadow work. There's situations that I have to endure, that I have to go through, like with work or with other platonic relationships that I have to. But yeah, most of the time I'm just trying to get far, far away from these cunty ass women, respectfully. I've also been trying to cut back on drinking too. I decided that I'm no longer gonna drink at work on the days that I work. I get a free drink. I work at a bar, so I get a free drink every time I work. And I feel like, okay, let's just keep it real. These cunty bitches at work. If I'm gonna be decompressing from these cunty bitches at work, I think I should do it away from work, even if the drink is fucking, even the free, even if I don't have to pay for the drink. I'd still rather go to a different bar and buy a drink so that I can decompress from these NPCs at my job. So I've stopped doing that actually like 5 days ago, like a week ago almost. It's just, yeah, it's counterintuitive. And then, yeah, on top of it, like, I don't actually get the best service, maybe, because I don't have to pay, and I don't have to tip, and I don't have to, be nice or whatever. So, yeah, I just get better service and a better after-work decompression, experience when I just go somewhere else after work, if I decide. And like, half the time, I don't even decide to go somewhere else. I'll just sit in my car and smoke weed. Okay, well, we're at 40 minutes right now. Thank y'all for listening. Vibing at different frequencies. Yeah, I'm vibing at different frequencies with certain people, and that's sort of it's kind of cutting into my being. Like the stubborn, I don't want to blame it on the astrology or whatever, but like, yeah, the stubborn Aries part of me just, I really can't vibe with people who can't see. I can't vibe with blind people. I can't vibe with people who are sleeping and who are blind. You gotta be able to see and you gotta be awake. Whatever you want to fucking call it. Post-woke, anti-woke, whatever the fuck you want to call it. Like, and it's kind of getting to me. And that's why I'm reaching out to people like Brandon and like my homegirl from Guyana or whoever, because it's kind of rare to come across people who vibe at the same frequency as me, who's not trying to just drain me. Let's get to this Facebook question, right? Okay, dealing with my cunty coworkers. Yeah, no longer mixing business with pleasure. No longer mixing business with pleasure. Okay, I asked this question like I think almost 2 weeks ago, but I didn't get to read it on the podcast last week because I had a guest star on the show. So I'm gonna find it and see if I can read them now. And then I think we're just gonna end it at that. Yeah, my light's gonna go off soon because I have 2% battery on my battery. 2% left on my battery. So, I mean, the audio will still be here. It's just the video part. I'll probably just edit that out. I've been flying my drone a lot. So I'll probably have a lot of drone clips in this episode. Maybe. I can't find the post. It was written so long ago. Okay, I wrote this post September 22nd, so it was before last week, yeah. Like I said, I didn't read it last week because I had a guest star and got a little sidetracked. But, so the question, I asked it in the group, and I'll just end it out on this. By the way, if you're not already following my channel, here's my content creator stuff coming in right now. Follow my channel on Spotify. It's Chandie Speaks, CHANDIE Speaks. On all platforms, it's Chandie Speaks. I'm on Spotify, I'm on YouTube, I'm on Instagram, TikTok, Threads, Facebook, everywhere. Chandie Speaks. Follow, like, share, subscribe, comment. Thanks for engaging. Oh, and if you're in the northern Arizona area and you want to come on to my podcast, my little van podcast studio, and just shoot the shit with me for an hour, go ahead and email me at chandiespeaks@gmail.com. That's CHANDIESPEAKS@gmail.com. All right, so this question I asked in the Empaths and Old Souls Spiritual Awakening group. I think I asked a question in here before. When did I ask this? Yeah, the last time I asked a question in this group was August 28th, and it was, why are so many people depressed? And I got a lot of great feedback from that. I got almost like 600 comments on that. This question, I didn't get as many comments. It's a public group, so if you want to go find the post yourself, it's called Empaths and Old Souls Spiritual Awakening. I do feel like I may go ahead and get myself out of this group. I did not read through these comments yet, but I think I got a preview of some comments, and some of it just seemed very like low vibrational. So I don't know, maybe it's just a question. The question that I asked was, what's the title of the current chapter of your life? Which is a fun question that I've asked on Facebook before, and I get good responses every time I ask it. I ask it like every other year or so on Facebook. So this time I asked it in the group, and the post itself got 225 comments, 7 shares, 45 reactions, semi-popular post relative to my other posts. I'm just going to read some comments. Oh, my dog's eating. Dog's eating right now, and my microphone is so magnificent. It's probably picking up hints of that. Okay, so I'm just going to read through a few of these comments, and I'm going to just get out of here. What is the title of the current chapter of your life? Yeah, the first comment was patience, but they spelled it like patience, like a doctor's patience, not like having patience. So that's when I was like, all right, I might have to head out, because they couldn't even. And I wanted to reply to them and be like, are you a doctor? That's the current chapter of your life. It's just patience because you're a doctor. But I didn't want to be a smart ass. Anyway, public post. This looks like a woman. She writes Valeria. Valeria writes rebirth. I like that. Pam writes deconstruction. Rhonda writes, a lot of women writing here. Rhonda writes, my cup is full of good health and happiness. Maria writes, crap. Yeah, a lot of women on this group, or on this post particularly, are responding. Sharon writes, did anyone else feel the shift today? And then things got crazy. I don't know if that's the title of her life or if she was just generally asking that question. Another person writes rebirth. Jacqueline writes rebirth. Amanda writes overwhelmed. Steven, first guy. This is actually opposite of normally what we get. We normally get the guys commenting and then have to be scrounging for the girls. But Steven writes, spiritual progress. I think what I wanted to inspire with this post was inspire people to look at their life and honestly reflect where they believe they are, like their perception of where they are currently. So these are good. A lot of one-word answers. Not all chapters have to have one words, but sometimes, most times they do, I guess. Kimberly writes, exhausted. Priscilla writes, transformation, isolation, growth. Susanna writes, climbing up the hill of sand. Sophie writes, aligning. A lot of women. I'm actually really surprised at how many women. Most of these are women. Heather writes, receiving with gratitude. Sammy, is this Sammy feminine or Sammy masculine? Sammy masculine writes, excuse me. Sammy writes, you see, what had happened was, that's the name of his, the current chapter of his life. Good answers here. Eva writes, evolution. Andy writes, Andy with an I, so that's a feminine Andy. She writes, mystery. Pamela writes, lost in space. Linda writes, upside down and sideways, still trying to figure it out. Nothing seems to be aligning very well. Bless her heart. Linda writes, the winter of my contentment. Now that's poetic. Bill, probably the third guy on this post, writes, relearning everything taught. Tracy writes, silently I go. Rachel writes, blooming love. Lori writes, purging the junk. Kevin writes, the remembering of who he really was and knew all along but forgot he was. The last probably was ups and downs and letting go. That's a mouthful. Mary writes, really? Heather writes, resilience. These are great answers. I'm obviously not going to read them all. I'm just trying to filibuster right now. Let's give it a nice full round 50 so minutes. George writes, still walking, talking, and wiping my butt. Christopher writes, new. Peggy writes, what a ride this is gonna be. All right. Christina writes, overstimulated. Debbie writes, grateful. I'm gonna end it on if I could title the current chapter of my life right now, and I'll end it on this, what would the current title, or the title of the current chapter of my life be? Let me ponder on this for a moment. Ooh, okay, I thought of a good one. I think I'm going to call it Illuminate. Not like, so it's illuminate, which is like what, the future tense? It will light up the darkness. The current chapter of my life is titled Illuminate, meaning like to light up the darkness. And I think that's what it is. There's like darkness that's been happening for years and years, and I've been avoiding it. I've been dancing around it. I've been pretending it's not there. And now I'm just gonna light that bitch up. Light it up. So illuminate. That's the super cool, right? Okay. I think that's good. I think we're good. Thank you all for listening. My battery is going to die. As you can see, it's really dark if you're just listening on Spotify. Thank you for listening. Thank you for engaging. Like, share, comment, subscribe. Chandie Speaks. Blase, blase. I'll see you all next week.